In 2007, I received a call of my partner, love of my life, had been shot and killed by the police.
Everybody know the game don't stop, trying to make it to the top for you. Get now, if you a rider, oh yes, a soul survivor.
I'm Brandon Anderson, and my life's work has been ending police terror against Black people. The 6th leading cause of death for young Black men in America is being killed by the police. Black men are twice as likely to die from police violence than by the coronavirus. Black people have been experiencing the pandemic of police violence for decades. And so I founded Raheem as the independent service for reporting police in the United States. I was born and raised to 2 grandparents. I am the adopted son of John and Shirley Anderson. My grandfather was a plant manager at a rubber factory in rural Oklahoma. And my grandmother, my mother, was a rental car sales clerk. So I was raised by 2 beautiful people who were married for 35 years and who taught me everything I know about love and accountability. Growing up in Oklahoma, you growing up as a queer Black kid in rural Oklahoma, I don't have the kind of family I have right now. The family I have in Oakland or New York or DC, folk who are also queer, who are also Black, who also grew up during the 80s pandemic, crack epidemic, the 90s HIV pandemic. These are things I had just had trouble talking to people about because I was so secluded in like the rural country. I graduated and got my diploma from Job Corps and then joined the Army when I was about 17 years old. My grandmother passed before learning that I was queer. My grandfather, my father, I came out to him right after I left the military, over the phone.
He tried to take it around the corner and be, finally he said, "Dad, I'm gay." I said, "Okay. You're still my son, still love you." And I meant that.
His response was, "All right, I still love you." And it was just weird because I had anticipated so much more, right? Like he was talking to me about growing up, like you said. I was raised by a conservative family in rural Oklahoma during the 1980s and 90s. Back when being Black and being queer was no fun.
He was reared by a generation removed. By that I mean, had his mother raised him, it would have been different because that would be more or less a contemporary relationship. He got raised the way I got raised, old school.
I had a lot of people in my life, including my parents, who would say homophobic shit, right? Lots of people who would say homophobic stuff. And that was definitely tough. But the anticipation kind of dissolved once I told him, and he was just like, "Oh, hey, I still love you."
You had a lot of crooks try to steal your heart.
In 3rd grade, I remember meeting the boy who would later become my high school sweetheart. And he was a tall, skinny, big-headed boy I met in English class. Falling in love with him was like falling asleep in class. It's something I did not mean to do. I just did it. On 36 and Coltrane is the place that I fell in love when I was 14 years old. In an abandoned house with one bathroom that had cold running water and a plug in the other side of the house where we heated a space heater. He was a painter. He painted houses, external and internal. And he was a fine artist as well. Fine art in Oklahoma don't make that much money, so he painted houses. And in 2006, he proposed to me. It was, quite frankly, the happiest day of my life. I'll never forget it. I still wear the necklace around my neck.
I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. I ain't never ran from nothing but the police.
I was in the U.S. Army. I received a call from a mutual friend of ours. My partner, love of my life, on his way home from work, had been shot and killed by the police.
I ain't never ran from nothing but the police. I ain't never ran from nothing but the police.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was standing in my uniform, and I was standing over near my car, about to go home, and I got a call. I picked it up, and I heard those words, "He's gone," just kind of like crying on the other end. And I was confused, honestly. I was confused about what was going on until I heard them say, "He's really gone." My partner was pulled over because he was driving a car that the officer said was stolen. The car had never been stolen. In fact, it was the car that me and my partner had saved up to buy. My life partner was killed by the police. Both he was shot and beaten. My partner's death threw me into 2 years of clinical depression. The loss of my partner, the killing of my partner by the police, changed my life forever. The process of filing a complaint against an officer is unnecessarily difficult, is normally intimidating, and wholly unrewarding. And so I founded Raheem as the independent service for reporting police in the United States.
When you report police on Raheem.org, we connect you to a free lawyer, file a complaint against the officer, and use your story to lobby for policies that defund police and invest in your community. We've already helped thousands of people in hundreds of cities report police.
And I think that the movement, the organization that we're building at Raheem is really ready to take that to the next step.
I know Raheem through basically having interactions with the police, bad interactions, unsafe interactions. My most recent experiences, I've been able to document them on Raheem.org and get some resources. Through Raheem, I got connected to an organization that helps specifically like Black and brown people in over-policed neighborhoods find other solutions as to, you know, how to get help without calling 911, because the first people they're going to send out is the police.
The fact that these young people put their pictures up there is going to embolden others who are terrified right now of saying anything about what has happened to them by the police. So because of social media and the whole culture of today, the whole tech culture, you create an opportunity, and I think that this will grow exponentially.
When you have police departments who create processes that make it difficult to report an officer, the Department of Justice in 2013, the most recent study that we have on record, shared that less than 5% of people have filed complaints against police violence, which leads to these monumental consequences. The data is being used from the complaints. So complaint data is influencing and informing the decisions being made about the policies and practices they will implement moving forward.
People in my community are too afraid to report them. 93% of people who experience police violence do not report it, and that's the problem.
Yeah, seen it all and been through it all, yo. No, right now, word the mother, for real, for real.
Being killed by police is the 6th leading cause of death for young black men in America.
I put my lifetime in between the paper's lines. I'm the quiet storm.
Black men are twice as likely to die from police violence than they are from the coronavirus. I'll give you a prime example of how that's shown up.
Police killed George Floyd, and the autopsy said that he had COVID-19. George Floyd survived coronavirus, the most deadliest virus in modern history, but got killed by the police for being black.
He's not here to receive a vaccine. He's not here to hug his children. George Floyd was killed by a police officer, the man sworn to protect him.
You have operated as a revolutionary, and you have operated as someone who's ready to die for what is right. And so I thank you for doing what you've done.
I think Brandon is a rebel with the cause because he really wants to see change. He really wants to see the police in a different light, society in a different light, because he is a peace-loving person.
It's the right that each of us, all of us, have to live and to love in a world that is free of police violence, that continues to inspire me in this work.
My name is Brandon Anderson, and I'm a rebel with a cause.